Hey, what's up y'all? I'm Alan Hay, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So this is the time of year when I start to get a lot of overlapping questions that sometimes show that people have some confusion in what they should be doing here heading into the fall for warm season versus cool season lawns. There's kind of this overlap, and the reason that there's overlap and confusion that comes from that overlap is because you're seeing a lot of content coming out from me and other creators on seeding the lawn. And so that's a question I'm going to answer today, is who should seed their lawn, who shouldn't seed their lawn, if you should seed, when, why, and how. And we're also going to talk about the difference in cool season and warm season grasses, and we're all going to learn a little something more about the growth nature of our own lawns and how to maximize them at different times of the year. So with that, let's go have a little fun, and I'll see you out in the lawn. Now, oftentimes you'll hear me reference cool versus warm season lawns. And when I'm doing that, what I'm referring to is the type of grass that is grown in different areas of the country. If you're up north or across the center of the country, you more than likely have cool season grass, which those are Kentucky bluegrass, turf-type tall fescue, and ryegrass or perennial ryegrass. Now, in the fall time, if your lawn is overall thin and you want to add in some fresh, improved varieties that are more disease resistant and better heat tolerant, then you can and should overseed the lawn in the fall time. Now, it takes around 30 to 45 days to grow cool season grass from seed and to have it established to where it can survive the coming winter. That's really it, just 45 days. And the fall time, again, that's the very best time to do it. Now, I've got tons of information that I'll link below in the description, a full PDF on seeding, grass seed, how to choose grass seed, how to read grass seed labels, when to seed, why seed at that time, what to put on the seed to keep it going, how to water, when can you mow, all the questions that would come up with fall seeding. I've got all of that below for you in a PDF, plus some supporting videos, all free, immediate download. Check that out in the description below. By the way, these are Areca palms, and they are the highest maintenance palm that you can find. Am I right, Florida friends? Now, when I'm talking about warm season lawns, I'm talking about grass types Bermuda grass, zoysia grass, St. Augustine, centipede, and Bahia grass. These grasses, they grow mostly in the south, and they're treated completely differently than the cool season lawns up north. And just so you know, we almost never overseed warm season lawns because in most cases, it's a total waste of time and money. So mark this down. If your warm season lawn is overall thin and you want to thicken it up, it's much easier to get it to thicken up by taking advantage of its natural growth habit rather than waste money on seed. And that's because warm season turf, it's nothing like the turf that you guys grow up north. Let me illustrate. So the cool season grasses that you guys grow up north, they're known as bunch type grasses. And what that means is when you plant that seed, one little seedling comes up in the beginning, and once it forms enough roots, then it grows a few other stalks around it in a bunch. Almost like, see this Areca palm right here? This is a bunch growing palm. And this is a great illustration of what bunch type grasses do. You can see they're coming from this central area down at the bottom, and it's just sending up more shoots in this case, or trunks, or whatever you call them on a palm, right? But you can see it shooting them all up, but it's a bunch. This is a bunch type palm, and that is exactly what your bunch type grasses do. Your cool season grasses, they grow the same way, but when there's thousands of those little bunches all bunched together and you're looking down on it, it makes a beautiful turf grass. So with cool season lawns, what you do is you feed your bunches so they send up more thicker stalks all the way around, right? That's how you thicken up a cool season lawn. That's why you can seed, right? If you have areas that are larger than the size of a basketball, those are not really going to fill in with a bunch type grass. You're going to need to seed. And if you're overall thin, because your bunch type grass can only grow in bunches, it's best to throw grass seed in because it grows so quickly. Like I said, 45 days is all it takes for full establishment, and then it's going to start getting thicker. So seeding works great for cool season lawns. Warm season, on the other hand, they're different. They actually spread with long runners. These I pulled from my St. Augustine grass. These are St. Augustine Grass Stolens, and these are super long. And you can see these creep along the ground, and every few inches, they send up new grass blades. Now imagine when you look down at a lawn, that's thousands of these all grown together, all interwoven together. And when you look down on it, when they're all interwoven together, it makes a nice lawn. But that's a completely different growth habit. You can imagine, especially when it comes to filling in thin spots, if you got a bunch of these Sylvester Stolens running around on your behalf, you're going to fill some thin spots in pretty quick, right? A lot quicker than seed could grow. Here's another illustration of it in the public park in my subdivision where we have Bahia grass and St. Augustine grass mixing. You can see the St. Augustine grass runners very clearly. So you can see right here, I don't know if you can tell, see how that's a little bit lighter right there, and there's one right there. That is a St. Augustine Grass Stolen, a very long one. Let's get over a little bit closer. Okay, so if you look right here, see there? Those are St. Augustine Grass runners, and this is Bahia grass right here. Let me just show you. So that's Bahia, and that's what it looks like when it's just watered and not fertilized. You see how thin it is? This is why people don't like it, because it's so thin, but if you fertilize this, it'll thicken up. But what you have right here is St. Augustine grass that's running through it, because that right there is a patch of St. Augustine grass. So you can see the runner right there. Look at them running through there. Look how long those are. I put my foot there to give you an idea. So now you can see, look how long that is. All the way through there. That is how St. Augustine grass takes ground. I just cut that one off. But there you go, you can see it, That's the runner. And so that was right there and all the way down through there. That's how aggressive this grass type is. So here I am out at the Project Lawn St. Augustine grass. I'd started this back in the spring and now it is completely filled in from Stolens. Let me show you a little bit of history. So here we are, and I'll tell you, this part of Florida, we are classified in a severe drought right now. This is an irrigated lawn, and the homeowner, she mows religiously. She's on it. You can see there's a little heat stress in here right now, but other than that, look, it's completely filled in. You wouldn't even know this was the same lawn. I'll put some pictures up of what it looked like when I first found it. And all of that was from chinch bug damage. Now you would never know. Again, some heat stress in here, but overall the lawn is just thick everywhere. Look, see? And that's just Stolens have moved across those bare spots and filled it in completely. So that is the power of feeding and fueling. Now this hasn't been fertilized since May because we're in a fert ban right now. So it got fertilized really hardcore. I hammered it with the nitrogen all in the springtime. But that's it for the summer now. It's just been mowing and then her good irrigation in the midst of a severe drought. And check this out. Here's a picture sent in by a subscriber named Jeff showing a St. Augustine Stolen that creeped all the way up through the middle of a street sign and up and out. You are never going to see anything like this from cool season grasses. Now you can get some seed for warm season turf at the store. You'll be able to find Bahia, Bermuda, and Centipede here in Florida, and possibly you may find Zoysia in other parts of the country, but that's going to be a little bit more rare. Just keep in mind, there is no St. Augustine grass seed available anywhere. It doesn't produce viable harvestable grass seed. It can only be propagated vegetatively, which means growing more plants from existing plants. So if you want to thicken up a thin spot in St. Augustine, you might want to consider planting grass plugs. I'll give you more information on that in the description below. Okay, so one more reason why not to seed warm season turf. Imagine it like this. You throw down some Bermuda grass seed. It now has to get enough water to get it going so that it can push down its initial roots, and it will also have to push up some initial top growth in grass blades, green grass blades, so it can start to grab sunlight and it can photosynthesize to make sugars, right? That is going to take a few weeks in and of itself. Once it finishes that process, the down and the up, now that Bermuda can start spreading its rhizomes and its stolens. Because I know I've been talking a lot about St. Augustine grass here, but it's the same with all warm season turf. They all spread with stolens or rhizomes. Those are called runners. So now that seed spent a few weeks growing top and bottom, now it's finally able to start putting energy into growing rhizomes and stolens and runners and spreading out. And so by the time it starts to spread, you're 2-3 months already into the process. Now on the flip side, if you already have some Bermuda grass in your lawn, a little bit throughout, that means it's already got some roots and it's already got some top growth, and it may have few runners already started. What it needs from you now is to start pushing it with nitrogen. That's fertilizer. It's also going to need lots of water, and then it's going to need lots of sunlight. Right now in the summertime, we still have long days. We have plenty of sunlight. You watering and fertilizing, that's going to push it. You can see that would fill in a lot faster than starting all the way back at the beginning from seed. Does that make sense? It's kind of logical, right? Okay, last thing, because I know that many of you, especially those of you from up north, you like to seed. You're gonna try it down here anyway, and that's fine, but just let me give you some advice there too. The first thing is not only the growth habit of cool and warm season lawns, it's different, so is the time of year that they kick in and do most of their growth. Cool season lawns, they do best in spring and fall. That's when the temperatures and moisture are optimal for their growth, and you can see that here on this chart. The best times to seed cool season grasses are spring and fall, with fall being the best due to weed pressure and competition that you have in the spring that you don't have in the fall, because winter is a reset button. Now, warm season turf, on the other hand, it slumbers in the spring and the fall time, but it rages in the summer, and we're still in the summer when I'm making this video. So if you're going to seed warm season turf, then you're going to want to do that in the late spring, right as the turf is naturally coming into its major growth period, where it's naturally going to get the most kick and you're going to get the most bang for your watering buck. Now, right now in late summer is not the best time to do any type of seeding for warm season grass, as I mentioned, because it's going to take several weeks or months for that to get going. But it is a good time to still push your existing turf to spread rhizomes and stolons before we do slow down. We got plenty of daylight left, as I've already mentioned a couple 2-3 times in this video. Over by there. So think of it like putting your turf on a final bulking schedule before we get into the holidays. There's plenty of time to make great progress in your warm season lawn, no seed needed. I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Leave your comments and questions below, and I'll see you in the lawn. And yes, I understand that Kentucky bluegrass is rhizonomous and that there's also some rhizonomous fescues out there, y'all. And those, yes, they'll spread a little bit better than a traditional bunch type grass. But the spreading that your rhizomes and your Kentucky bluegrass do, it's like throwing a lawn chair off the Titanic when you compare it to what my Sylvester Stolens do here in St. Augustine Grass or Bermuda or Zoysia or any other warm season turfs. Well, except for Bahia. It's kind of a weak spreader. That's what she said. Oh, and they say green side up, right? Plant green side up. You tell me what's green side up. They all look brown.